I looked up how much a 4-night stay at the San Domenico resort would be. And one thing is it's booked for like the
Yeah.
next like 7 months. So I looked at August 9th to the 13th, 4 nights. Do you have a guess at how much it is?
I'd say $10,000.
Holy shit, $9,800. That was really impressive.
I watch a
I,
lot of Prices Right, and they give away trips. So I wasn't sure if we could put game shows on this list. Otherwise, Price is Right would be my number one pick here coming up. Not Price
yeah,
is Right, Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune.
yeah, I was gonna say NBA League Pass was my number one. What is good? Welcome back to the Pop Off Podcast. My name is Ralph Campiano, and this is a conversation show about the best television shows of 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. I know we're looking forward to 2023, but before we do that, we do need to meditate on and recognize what a great year in television 2022 was. We didn't get the chance to talk about too many shows on the podcast, but we did talk about movies a lot. So I figured what better way to celebrate the year in TV than by doing a top five with my boy Bordy B, aka Nick Borneo, aka Gorky D. What is poppin', Bordy? How was your 2022?
What's up, dude? 2022 was great, man.
Good.
Looking forward to 2023. Things are looking up. I already got work going, It's just a popping time.
You're winning fantasy football leagues. You're placing bets on NBA games that are completely meaningless to the actual schedule, like Hornets and Lakers, and you're just
100%.
sweating out every one of those. So it was a great year for TV. We had a lot of big shows, and I think it's interesting to talk about this so recently with movies because as the years go along, TV is becoming more like movies and movies are becoming more like TV. There's a lot of conversation about movies going straight to streaming services. Will there ever be a day where TV shows start premiering in the theater? Would some TV shows benefit from being seen in the theater? I think when I look at my list, that's one of the things that I thought about a lot was, God damn it, would have been really cool to watch House of the Dragon every Sunday night with my boys in a movie theater. So it just kind of knocked against it because I watch it on a 65-inch screen TV rather than, I don't know, how big is a movie theater screen? Like 700 inches? I have no fucking idea. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting way to think about these things, but at the same time, it can't hold you back too much. So before we get into it, I do just want to say thank you to everybody for listening to the Pop Off podcast in 2022. We'll be doing a lot more shows in 2023. We'll be celebrating our 1 year birthday sometime in late July. And I think we've had north of 85 episodes or something like that so far. So we're cranking them out between Rent Money, Bunkhouse Boys, the pod, and all these other kinds of things. And we've also been collaborating with a company called Good Time Media. They've been really helpful for our video stuff, so give them a follow and all that kind of stuff. And if you haven't yet, go listen to the top 10 movies of 2022 pod, and you can listen to me just have an orgasm about Tar. I literally didn't know what to say. It was probably a bad podcasting segment because I couldn't articulate my feelings about Tar because I've been trying to do it for 2 months and I still haven't figured it out. But maybe I can be better today when we break down our shows.
Yeah.
So I asked Bordy to bring his top five to the table. What we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth. He'll tell me his five. I'll tell him my five. We'll probably have some surprises along the way. Before we do that, though, Bordy, I do want to just give my 10 through 6 really, really quick. Do not reveal where you have these on your list if you have them on your list, just so we can have this titled as the top 10 movies of 2022 or TV shows. Okay, so at number 10, I had Abbott Elementary, a sitcom show on ABC following a elementary school, written and directed by Quinta Brunson. She kind of blew up the last couple of years. It was their second season that came out this year. I had The Boys season 3 on my list, the Amazon Prime naughty Marvel universe that is just a fucking blast to watch, and I cannot wait for season 4. I have House of the Dragon at number 8. Once again, I think I kind of just knock it a little bit because I don't know, the slow pacing of the first couple of episodes, but it did really pick up in the second half of the season. And I was doing my recaps on those as those episodes dropped. And then We Own This City, I have at number 7, which was an HBO show starring John Bernthal, written by the same guys who did The Wire. I'm surprised it's this low on my list because I fucking loved it. I just think it speaks to the strength of the year that was 2022. And then at number 6, I have Severance, the Apple TV show that completely boomed, directed by Ben Stiller, starring Adam Scott, which is just a very high-minded concept that I liked a lot, and I thought the visuals were great. So with that, what do you have at as your number 5 favorite show of 2022?
Well, I want to give you my 6 through 10 real quick. I want to hit some honorable mentions.
Sure.
Uh, Stranger Things was this year.
Yes.
Not as good as some previous seasons, but definitely still has its fastball. Good characters. they've already developed all the characters, so it's still interesting.
Care to share your thoughts
Uh,
on Millie Bobby Brown?
I got a lot of thoughts on Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
I got a lot of thoughts on Nancy, a lot of thoughts on the other girl. She's getting some more roles.
Sydney Sink?
I couldn't tell you, but
Yeah, Sydney Sink, the redhead who was just in The Whale with Brendan Fraser.
I got Yellowstone and 1883.
Okay.
Or no,
So
1883 made it. Sorry, I just gave one away.
oh,
I got
God.
Succession as an honorable mention.
Succession released in 2021.
Okay, well, it's coming out in 2023.
Yes,
Just
it
watched the
is.
preview on it. Looks exciting. I left Genius off, the Kanye West documentary.
I counted that as
Um,
an honorable mention of my movies thing. That probably is more of a TV show though.
yeah, I was wondering how like docu-series and all that, how that would tie into these shows. So I just kind of left Kanye off because of that, and he's a Nazi now. So, um, House of the Dragon was an honorable mention for me. It did not crack my top 5.
Okay.
See
I
what
also had a winning time in my honorable mentions, the Los Angeles Lakers show about Dr. Buss and Magic Johnson and Kareem. I wish it would have been cokier and more sexy. It was just, I don't know, kind of dragged at parts.
we can get into that later because that's I left that out of honorable mentions for a reason.
Okay. So what do you have at number 5?
Number 5, I have the second installment of Sam Levinson's Euphoria.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. Speak on it.
I loved this season of Euphoria. I just turned on the season finale for about 15 minutes, and that season finale with the play was a perfect wrap for a season. A lot of shows leave you so hung up on the last episode, hung out to dry, left out in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a perfect finale and all across the season. Why I have it at 5 is that Elliot Dude's 5-minute solo song he does in the last episode. So for that reason,
Dominic,
it's not higher on the list. But
so you're not a Dominic Fike fan. That's what I'm gathering.
yeah, Euphoria still has it, man. It's still still hot, still a lot of drugs,
Mm-hmm. It's
still dramatic people and high school. And
I should include in my honorable mentions because it is probably one of the more entertaining shows. Like I'm never not entertained when I'm watching it. It's just am I enjoying the entertainment as much? And as somebody who is a retired writer, for lack of a better term, I really love story, and I thought the story in this season was um, kind of few and far between. I feel like there really wasn't much of one. But the performances are some of the best on TV. I think Sydney Sweeney and Zendaya and Alexa Demie and Jacob Elordi are all terrific young actors, and I look forward to seeing everything they do in the future. And it's also one of the best shot things on TV. As somebody who's kind of a movie nerd, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The aesthetics are very pleasing, and I'm coming to grips with the fact that sometimes things just look pretty for looking pretty sake, and I used to have an issue with that, but now I'm becoming more comfortable with it. And I'm also glad that there is a show for our age group that is so popular that everybody can talk about. There's so many things that come out. That's the other thing about this list. It's like it's kind of a hassle to make this list because there are 100 shows that I'm sure that could be on this list that I'm about to drop that I just didn't watch. I didn't have time for. I'm sorry. I don't sit at home and watch TV all goddamn day every day as much as I wish I could. But Euphoria is a very good show. I think it's borderlining on great, and it's one of the most popular shows in the world. So I'm glad that you mentioned it because I completely forgot about it.
I think it's probably the best show on the list. Looking at it as it has something for everybody in it,
Sure. I mean,
besides people over 40. But
at the same time, though, like they're like, is this what kids are like now? Like, I know, I don't know. I listen to podcasters and they break it down and they're all above 40 years old and they like have the same fascinations. But I think my thing with it is just like it's so over dramatized. And, if you look at it as a soap opera, then that's appropriate. But I don't know. I just struggle with it. And I'll still watch it. I'll watch season 3. And I look forward to it, I guess. It's not like appointment viewing for me, though. I don't watch it every Sunday night. It's something I can catch up on Wednesday. I don't feel like a pressure to be in the conversation with it. At my number 5, I have the breakout show for Hulu this year, The Bear, a show about essentially an Italian beef shop. And I thought this was one of the most fun things I've actually watched in the last couple of years. I think that if I rewatched it tonight, which I could probably do because I think it's like 8 episodes and every episode is 20 minutes long, that would probably climb to number one on my list. But I have some recency bias here. I feel like I haven't watched it in 6 or 7 months. But I absolutely loved it. I thought Jeremy Allen White was a terrific vehicle for the show. And I just think that I think it's the second to last episode where it's essentially a one take was probably the most claustrophobic and anxious I've been watching anything the entire year. And I think it's one of my favorite episodes of TV of the last couple of years. So I absolutely love The Bear, another show kind of like Euphoria that was made for people like us. And I'm glad that TV is moving in that direction. They're not making shows for old heads anymore. They're like, listen, we need to crank up the animosity in the show a little bit because it's hard to compete with TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So I thought The Bear was just genius and also one of those shows that's like it doesn't need CGI, it doesn't need a huge budget. It was just kind of one magical thing that happened. It came and everybody fucking loved it. And I loved it, so I have it at number 5.
I agree. The bear was wonderful. I spent about the last 6 years in a kitchen in a family business, and the bear sums it up pretty well about high stress. Everybody's smoking cigarettes.
Mhm.
Everybody hates each other, wants to tear each other's head off. They just kind of they nailed everything on the head, especially the Chicago scene. I actually watched it when I was visiting a buddy in Chicago. We just watched it for 6 straight hours and finished it. And
That was the other conversation I wanted to have, like, with these
I didn't even have to
shows,
go outside. I
that
just watched Chicago from his apartment living room.
did you so you binged this one. I wanted maybe I'll ask it at the end. I wanna know how many of these shows you watched week by week and how many you binged because I think that's an interesting conversation too. Because it's like Stranger Things was bingeable for the first 5 episodes, and I believe the last 3 were released at a later date. But if I'm looking at my list right now, Abbott, Boys,
I
House of
watched The Bear twice.
I think every single one of these shows I watched week by week except for The Bear. Yes, every single one of these shows I watch week by week versus a binge.
Same here.
Okay. Okay. I had The Bear at number 5. You had Euphoria at number 5. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is the Taylor Sheridan uh, prequel to Yellowstone, 1883, with
Okay.
Faith Hill, Tim McGraw, and Ellis something. I can't remember exactly her name, but I checked to see if she's turned her Instagram back on every morning.
What do you like about this show, Bordy? Other than Ella, Ella Anonymous.
That's it. I just like Ella.
Okay. So
I'm just kidding. No,
do
no,
you
I love
prefer it
Faith
to
Hill.
Yellowstone?
What's that?
You
Oh
prefer it
yeah,
over Yellowstone?
I preferred the standalone season, 1883, especially this 2022 season of Yellowstone. Didn't even really make an honorable mention for me.
Mm,
How do you put out half a season and it's lacking?
okay. That's interesting
I'm
because
not into this half season stuff where they do two drops.
yeah, that's a fascinating marketing scheme. It worked for it's kind of similar to like what Knives Out just did, where they dropped it in the theater for 6 or 7 days. And then they dropped it on Netflix to generate more conversation. But I thought that it would be more popular on Netflix than it has been. I know a lot of people that watch it, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of conversation about it. But with Yellowstone, I didn't even know they were taking a break. I guess I should have known that from a Bunkhouse Boys programming note, but maybe that's why they haven't recorded an episode in like a week and a half. Okay, so number 4, I haven't watched any of the Yellowstone shows. I'll admit it. I did watch the first 2 episodes of Yellowstone. Couldn't get into it. Sorry, it's not me. Number 4, I have the second season of HBO Max's Industry. This is a show about I mean, I don't know, British money, people that are our age that are trying to break into the scene over there in the financial industry. It is once again kind of like The Bear, very chaotic. It is about a business that is definitely more successful than an Italian beef shop in Chicago, so the stakes are a little bit higher. But I think that's what was so special about The Bears. The stakes always felt so high, despite the fact that it's just an Italian beef joint. But I love Italian beef, so the stakes don't get much higher for me than that. I definitely care about Italian beef more than I
I
do
thought you were talking about industry.
I am the British economy. My bad. But just one of the best directed, best written shows on TV. I think that it is growing and maturing as I watch it. This first season, I loved it. I just thought it was really messy and it didn't know exactly what it needed to be. And the second season, they figured all of that out. They introduced Mark Duplass's character in the season, and he really ratcheted things up as kind of an Elon Musk-esque figure. And if you haven't seen it, it is like if Succession and Euphoria had a fucked up little baby, and that baby also had a British accent. So it's a terrific show. It's, I believe, 8 episodes per season, 2 seasons out thus far, 50 minutes per episode. I thought this show was going to blow the fuck up just because of the stuff that it has to deal with and the age group that it's following, but it just hasn't. And that really surprises me. I think it barely got passed for season 3. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's one of my favorite shows on TV right now.
Well, do you remember our obsession with that show, season 1?
Yes.
We would kind of text about it a lot.
You
I
were
didn't
the
even
only
know,
person I talked about it with.
I didn't even know season 2 came out.
So that's on me then. And it's also on
Well,
HBO and it's
it's
also
on
on Our
HBO.
Generation.
But I think you nailed it on the head with, for people that aren't too familiar with industry, because obviously they're not marketing very well. I don't know. It's because they all have British accents and live in Ibiza or wherever they're from.
But
But
fucking House of the Dragon has British accents. Like that shouldn't be holding them back. Some of the best shows are with British people.
yeah, but the best comparison is, like you said, it's like a little Euphoria and Succession love child.
And what more can you ask for?
No,
It's
that's
kids making a lot of money and doing a shit ton of drugs. There's a scene in the first season, if I can sell somebody on it. One of my favorite characters, who reminds me of our buddy Jake Lenz, he does ketamine in a bathroom, fucks a fat chick, and then goes into work like 3 hours later. Like he's like at this fucking club till 5 a.m. on a Tuesday, and then he goes in and he's clearly deranged in this meeting, and they just kind of like let it pass by. They call him out a little bit, but they're like cool with it because they all know that, like that was me 15 years ago. The elderly people that he works with. Okay, so that was my number 4. What do you have at number 3?
my number 3 was already spoken for, and we went over it, is The Bear.
Okay, awesome. So top 3 show, terrific show. I'm glad that you had it that high. I feel kind of
Another
bad having it at 5.
another great finale with that show. Um, I loved John Bernthal, or whatever you said his name earlier.
John Bernthal.
Yeah, Cousin Richie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of my favorite characters in a show
Sorry,
ever.
no. John Bernthal is actually, that is I think it's Amok something. I'll find his name. But John
They just
Bernthal
look like
is,
each other.
no, he's also in it though because he is Jeremy Allen White's dead brother. He shows up for one episode in the flashback.
Right.
He's
Yeah,
like
he's the other
making
brother.
he's making like some pasta in the kitchen or something like that. So you're right, John Bernthal is in that, and he's terrific, and we own the city. Okay, at number 3, I'll save this conversation because I know you probably have it higher. The White Lotus season 2.
I got it. I got it at 2, so it was gonna be my next one.
Okay, perfect. So let's just do it now. Kind of like industry. The first season, really dug it, had a lot of fun with it. Didn't think about it too much after I watched it. The second season, on the other hand, I am like,
Talks
I'm,
off.
I'm craving rewatching it. I watched the first episode with somebody last night just because I was like, "You haven't heard of this? You haven't checked this out?"
I did the same thing. Yeah, turned it on for somebody last time.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Let's put this on right now. And immediately people are hooked. And he's just figured out a terrific formula. And maybe it's because of our Italian heritage that we prefer season 2 to season 1. But I don't think that's the only reason. I think that he actually just did a better job of writing a story and building a vibe. And the first theme of the first season is kind of money. The theme of this second season is sex and what that does to people and how it motivates people and all of these kind of big things. And you can read into it as much as you want for theories, and you can read into it for deeper meanings, but at the same time it's just really good TV. It's very comforting, and it's also very anxiety inducing, and it's just like bouncing back and forth between these two vibes that are just gorgeous. And the performances, I mean, come the fuck on, dude. The performances in this goddamn show. Who wouldn't want to be on this show? Like, what actor doesn't want to go to a resort for 2 months, shoot the show, and then have their status just completely skyrocket? Nobody has lost from being on the show.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, we went into it in depth on the White Lotus finale podcast, and the characters, 10 out of 10. Out of everything I have on my list, it's probably White Lotus is probably the most fun I had watching these shows, just from an entertainment standpoint.
I looked up how much a 4-night stay at the San Domenico resort would be. And one thing is it's booked for like the next like 7 months. So I looked at August 9th to the 13th, 4 nights. Do you have a guess at how much it is?
I'd say $10,000.
Holy shit, $9,800. That was really impressive.
I watch a
I-
lot of Prices Right, and they give away trips. So I wasn't sure if we could put game shows on this list. Otherwise, Price is Right would be my number one pick here coming up. Not Price
yeah,
is Right, Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune.
yeah, I was gonna say NBA League Pass was my number one. Um,
Red Zone.
at, at
Red
number
Zone.
at number two, you have the White Lotus season two. I have Barry season three. This is just one of my 6 or 7 favorite shows of all time, so it's pretty hard to compete with. Completely driven by Bill Hader, and Bill Hader's turn from an SNL comedian who made me laugh every single Saturday or Sunday morning into an auteur has been one of my favorite things that's happened in pop culture over the last 5 years. Barry is a very special show about an actor or a hitman trying to become an actor. And I don't want to say anything about this season because I think season 4 is coming pretty soon. And we'll do a kind of a recap of season 3, preview of season 4, because we're going to be doing that episode by episode. But just another hit for HBO. And God damn it, if I don't fucking love Bill Hader and Henry Winkler and everybody involved in that show more than anything in the world. Like they are just, they find their tone, they hit it. It's one of the funniest shows on TV. It's one of the darkest shows on TV. It can make you cry, it can make you laugh.
Dark.
And I always say that that's like the perfect semblance of art. If something can make you cry and laugh in the same episode or the same hour, then that's something that's really successful.
Yeah. Barry's been a slow burn too. It probably first aired about half a decade ago.
Yes.
And you definitely got to be a little psychotic to watch it.
100%. And you know what? We love psychos on this side of the tracks. The Pop Up Podcast roster is full of fucking psychopaths, and we all love Barry. But he kind of flew under the radar this year a little bit. It feels like, as far as like top shows are concerned. But the people who know are the people who know. Okay, so that was my number two. What do you have at number one?
My number one show of 2022 is Winning Time, a Lakers dynasty.
Wow! Holy shit!
You know, I fucking loved Winning Time, dude.
Okay.
That actor for Magic, perfect. Jerry Buss, John C. Riley is Jerry Buss, fucking hilarious. Just a great show, man. I liked the storyline behind his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
the now owner of the Lakers.
Genie Bus.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of some other storyline. I love how much Jerry West hates it. Just fuck Jerry West. And like, yeah,
It was
anything that could piss Jerry West off. Somebody send this to fucking that old geezer.
it was the intersection of some of our favorite things. It was the intersection of basketball, really solid filmmaking by Adam McKay, John C. Riley, one of our favorite people, and then sex and drugs. I just wish it would have been a little bit sexier and a little bit druggier, but that's okay. And I also wish that I thought they actually did a really good job of representing like basketball. Like a lot of like basketball movies and basketball TV shows, it's just so fucking obvious that people are actors. But Quincy Isaiah as Magic Johnson is like, he has the it factor, he has the charm as Magic off the court, but then off the court, like he's passable as a 6'8" point guard. And I just love that kind of stuff. Like when they actually pay attention to those details, you can tell that the guys who made the show, Adam McKay, John C. Riley, they really do love basketball. They're like, this cannot look cheap. We need to go above and beyond with this. So yeah, I liked it. It was a fun show to watch week to week, and I'm definitely looking forward to season 2. Maybe they can have a similar jump in the quality, at least for me, not for you, because it's your fucking favorite show of the year. But the similar jump as like Industry, White Lotus, and shows like that.
I liked how they made Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hateable and likable throughout.
Facts.
And like he made Magic make him orange juice every morning. He'd take a sip.
Mhm.
No, give it back to him.
Not good enough. And Spencer Haywood's cokiness, like that was
Spencer Haywood smoking crack.
and
not
Michael
getting
Cooper just
ring.
being a good guy. Like, yeah, it's just a good show. I'm excited to get more James Worthy next season. That should be fun. Okay, my number one, I think this is probably pretty predictable. Haven't had the chance to talk about it on a podcast yet. I didn't have a lot of people that watched this show with me, which was really surprising because I think the first 2 seasons of the show, it was maybe the most popular show outside of the
You're gonna
HBO
name a show I've
universe.
never heard of.
I'm not. I'm going to name a show that you're very familiar with that I'm not even sure if a lot of people, I think people gave up on it after season 3, and season 3 is not on my list, but Atlanta season 4 was my favorite season of television this year. It is the final season of Atlanta. And that is a heartbreaking statement that I haven't had to say out loud yet. And I kind of just had an existential crisis. saying that, I'm gonna miss this show so fucking much. I think the last episode was maybe one of the most perfect episodes of TV I've ever seen. It is season 3 was Paperboy in Europe, his first time being on a TV screen in about 4 years. So a very long wait between season 2 and season 3 because of COVID and all these kinds of things. And that season kind of dealt with what it's like to be black in the world, and that is just not a theme that is necessarily for me, and that's okay. That was for other people. I'm glad they liked it. But then season 4, they go back to their roots. They go back to Atlanta, and it is just as quirky and weird every single episode as the next. Like the best thing about Atlanta is I can turn on the White Lotus, I can turn on Industry, I can turn on the Bear, and I can assume that episode 4 is going to be pretty similar to episode 3. But I just love the fucking surprises that Atlanta had in store for me every time I turned on a new episode, because you literally never know what the fuck is going to happen next, because they do not follow a specific storyline. It's almost an anthology show in a way, and I just thought that it was absolutely brilliant. I'm going to miss Donald and Stephen Glover's love child. I'm going to miss Keith Stanfield as Darius, ZZ Beats. I'm going to miss Paperboy. I mean, Brian Tyree Henry is like, I think the coolest thing about Atlanta is like ZZ Beats, Lakeith Stanfield, Brian Tyree Henry. Those are 3 of the best actors in the country right now, in the world right now.
Movie stars now. Movie
Movie
stars.
stars. Like they've been in Deadpool, they've been in
Blockbusters.
Knives Out, they've been in fucking Marvel movies. It's like
The new Bullet Train, Paper Boys and Bullet Train.
there you go. And it's just like I don't think that ever would have happened without Atlanta, and they did such a good job casting it. And it's just, I mean, it's one of my favorite shows of all time. It's right up there with The Sopranos, Fleabag, Mad Men. I also watched Mad Men for the first time this year. I cranked all of that out, so didn't get the chance to watch a lot of new shows. Well, I guess I watched 10 of them or 13 of them, whatever. But yeah, I'm going to miss Atlanta a lot. And I thought this season was absolutely brilliant. And I wish more people would have watched it because it feels like it kind of flew under the radar a little bit. Did you watch the new seasons?
So Atlanta must have lost me during COVID because I've seen the first 2 seasons, loved them, and then I just picked up season 3 probably a month ago.
And it's a tough one to finish. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't think I finished the first episode, but I'll get through it, and that's one you could binge. Like you said, every episode something new. Sometimes it's a little bit stressful.
Oh yeah,
A few of my favorite episodes of television though were in the first 2 seasons. So
100%.
then, considering you loved season 4 so much, I'll push through season 3 and check out Vivi's #1 show of 2022.
I'm not even sure if you necessarily need to watch season 3 to watch season 4. That's just how fucking weird the show is. It's like
Yeah,
they're 2 totally different seasons of TV, and every episode is totally different than the next. Like they were popular for popularizing. I mean, the first season's like there's a pretty decent storyline there. It's about Earn getting back into Paperboy's heart and becoming his manager. But it's nice to see what they're like with money and how they kind of behave differently. And just at the end of the day, I think it's a show about friendship. It's a show about family. It's a show about love and unconditional love. And I just loved it. It made me so happy this year. So those are our top 5/top 10 lists. I don't really have any other honorable mentions. We are going to do a most anticipated episode here in the near future for most anticipated TV shows and most anticipated movies. So I'll save that conversation for later. But Bordy B, do you have a New Year's resolution heading into 2023?
yeah. Bordy Beans is to lose about 23 pounds, so we're gonna try to get that done. I ate about $80 worth of Domino's last night. I got one more question for our movie or TV show pod. What was your least favorite TV show or TV season in 2022? Do you
Oh,
even
that's
bother? Is there something you turned off after 5 minutes that everybody was talking about? Or
No, I have a short fuse. So if I don't like something, I don't need to keep up with the conversation. I won't watch something just to keep up. I have to actually enjoy it. Like I would say the show that I don't have a least favorite, but the show I've been struggling with the most to actually get through has been Fleischman is in Trouble on Hulu. It is a show with Jesse Eisenberg, Lizzie Kaplan, I think it's Adam Brody, I want to say. And it's just a show that is, I like it a lot. It's just a fucking struggle to watch. It feels like every episode is 95 minutes instead of 50 minutes. And I'm kind of in a rut right now in episode 5 where I haven't finished it yet. And I haven't had the capacity to turn it back on. So that will happen to me with shows where I'm like that happened with me to me with Mad Men. I tried to watch Mad Men in high school. I could only get through season 2, and then I couldn't get past it. And then I started it again this year, and I think I watched 7 seasons of Mad Men in 2.5 weeks. And it was the most fun I had watching anything all year. Like I liked it more than probably anything else that I saw. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I have that problem with shows too. Treat them like my girlfriends. I just don't finish them.
Okay. Well, on that note, from Certified Loverboy Bordy and Ralph Compiano, this has been the Pop Off Podcast, our top 5 shows of 2022. We are looking forward to talking about way more TV shows in 2023. If you have, oh, actually, before we get out of here, I should say, we forgot to mention the fans voted for their favorite movies and shows and I believe albums of 2022. And their favorite movie of 2022 was Top Gun Maverick. That received, I believe, 29% of the votes. And then their favorite show of 2022 was House of the Dragon. Maybe that was the show that everybody watched. And that's why they voted for it. I'm not sure. I liked House of the Dragon. I don't want to seem like I don't. I think we covered it enough for people to know that I do like it. But those are their 2 favorite things. So they're on the right side of history, I guess, because Top Gun Maverick will probably be the most remembered show of 2022, and House of the Dragon could be the most remembered of 2022, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's probably newer
Sounds like our
shows that are more.
listeners. Sounds like our listeners are a bunch of bots.
Yeah, they very well may be. We've got a SZA podcast that is absolutely blowing up right now, the one that Deja and I did.
Banger.
And I swear to God that there's fucking bots listening to it because it has way too big of numbers right now. It's crazy, but we'll take them. But yeah, thank you guys for tapping in. We appreciate you. We will be back later this week with a 2022 song draft. We're gonna draft our favorite songs from the year 2022. So maybe you guys will be blessed by Bordy on that pod too. But we'll see you guys on the other side. Peace out.